salt water.
But some people say at least yearly once or sometime the beach bath is also good. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, so the ocean or the sea water is also very therapeutic, and we must definitely take bath in sea water. But here on this slide, we are talking about the rainwater, and
Mhm.
because as Neelkanth mentioned, it comes in touch with the air, the sun, right? So the influence of these elements of nature, with the influence of these elements of nature, the water is purified. And the source of water, so basically this rainwater is one of the best sources of water, which is already pure. Rather than chemically treating the water that we get in cities, it is best to store this rainwater whenever you get a chance. Just try to avoid the first rain because of the chemicals which are there in the pollutants which are there in the air. If we are in cities closer to factories and all of that, when such rainwater is used for all types of hydrotherapy applications or even for drinking purposes, such water is very, very useful, and it becomes a universal medicine. Okay, and it is very good to heal. Like the healing becomes much better. That is what the slide means. Yeah. Can we move on to the next slide?
Yes. Should I read it?
Yes.
चिकित्सा आयाम तस्य दृगा आदेयं सलिलं सदा स्नादि अनि भविष्यन्ति फलवत्य एवं एव हि.
Sorry. Yeah.
So this okay.
Yes. So I think this is more or less what we also spoke about in the from the earlier slide.
Yeah.
That when this such water is used, the treatment will be more effective and it will benefit in a better way. So
Guru, I would like to add one thing. So Guruji has said that in the first slide we mentioned about Akasha Tattva, air, Vayu Tattva, and sun. So in this, like a waterfall, where the earth, what you call, the Prithvi Tattva.
yeah,
So that is also affecting it. So this is kind of a like medicinal effect, because the, and fifth is the Jala Tattva. So all the four main elements are acting on this water, and that's why this becomes more of a medicinal effect.
yes, very true.
There are like Ganeshpuri, Vajreshwari in Maharashtra, they have that hot springs. So
Yes.
they say that that cures skin diseases and everything. So I'd been there and
Yeah.
seen that it heals. But they say that, I mean, our faculty says that it has got lots of sulfur content which heals the skin diseases.
Right. Right. So all these are natural sources of water, and they also get so when they flow through the mountains or through nature, they get in touch with lot of herbs when they flow through the streams and the mountains. And by being in touch with all of this, the sunlight, the air, the herbs, um the this kind of water is much effective and beneficial for all healing purposes. So whenever I have always said this, whenever you get a chance to go to a waterfall, please make sure that you actually take a dip. just don't be an observer, or just don't be just don't let it be for eyes, but try to dip yourself into this water to get the complete healing. And especially during rains, all of us must definitely have rain bath whenever possible. There are cities which are usually cold, and people don't feel like taking rain bath in such cold weathers like Bangalore or some places in the north. But there are cities like Mumbai where it is always quite humid and hot, and whenever it rains, it's like a welcome change. So as children, we used to always have a great time in the rains. I remember, and I'm sure Zenobia would agree with me, because she is from the same school as mine. And there used to be, when it used to rain outside our school, there was a lot of water which used to get collected, and all kids used to have a great time. In spite of the raincoats and the umbrellas, we used to
Yeah,
jump inside the collected puddle of water and have a great time.
yeah. What is a nuisance in adulthood was fun and play in childhood, no?
Yes, right. And every time in Mumbai, when I used to work after joining my job, at least once in the whole monsoon season, we used to get a day off because of heavy rain and the local trains not working. And but because it used to rain so heavy, we were very happy. We used to go back homes, enjoy our vada pav, and go back home in on that day. In fact, in the year 2015, I don't remember. Zenobia, 27 July. Which year was that?
26 July 2015.
2005.
2005. Yes,
5.
2005. That was the day in Mumbai where when it didn't stop raining for about 2 or 3 days continuously, and it created a havoc everywhere. I'm sure all of those who were in Mumbai during that time will have lots of stories to share. Uh, anyway, so that's off topic. Uh,
I
so
would
yeah,
like to share something here, Vandana.
okay,
On
sure.
this day, so I remember I was doing my studies at that time, some study I was doing, and I used to visit college every day. And I was a regular student. I don't bunk college or class actually, but that
Yes,
day I felt, what we call the gut instinct. So I just want to highlight that
sure.
we have to listen to our gut and our instinct. I got a feeling that today I should maybe not go to college, and like bunking college was a big thing for me. But somehow I thought, let it be. Today I won't go to college. And then this havoc started, and people got stuck. And for those who were in Bombay, they know how bad it was. People lost lives, and it was terrible. So just
Yes,
wanted to, say that. Our instincts are very powerful, and we should actually listen to them. That voice that comes from within that we say
yes,
is really.
absolutely. So that is exactly what is our bodies, basically our nature. Okay, so we have to listen to our bodies and to our instincts, and it naturally comes somehow. It naturally comes. So for me also, I used to catch a local train at around 7:10 a.m. in the morning. But when I reached, I used to stay at Ulhasnagar. But when I reached the station, there is an Ulhas river which we have to cross to reach the station. There's a bridge on top of the river. That day at 7 a.m. in the morning, one side of the bridge was immersed in water, and there was no way to go to the platform. So I silently checked and went back home. I did not even try to go to another station like Kalyan station to catch a local. I just shut my mouth and mind and just went back home. And after that, for the whole week, I was peacefully sitting at home. Whereas people who tried to venture out, tried to reach offices or schools or other places, they couldn't get back home for the next 2 or 3 days. And they had a very tough time reaching to a safe place on that day. So, yeah, everything was stopped. The newspaper, the essential services, the electricity, nothing was working. And even the mobile network was not there. So there was no way to, know how your loved ones or family members are doing and where they are. Really tough time it was. Okay. Okay, so coming back to the topic and moving to the next slide. Yes, Diwaliji, you can read further.
वृषम् एवोप कुर्वन्ति तीव्ररोगं मिश्वे क्रमाः अतस्ति व्रेषु सेव्येयम् अपचिकित्सा विशेषतः.
Okay. Shri Divyaji, do you want to take this slide?
Yeah, I want to take, but yeah, I'm still making my kid. She's not
Okay.
sleeping.
Okay. No problem. Okay. How about Kavita ji? Or whoever wants to go.
Should I tell?
Yeah, okay.
So, this verse says, as we can read it here, in cases of acute diseases, these methods help greatly. Means, as you can see in the picture, if there is a pain in abdomen, and if you just immerse your hand and you put it on your tummy, wet hand, wet kerchief, wet pack on your tummy, like with cotton cloth, so that relieves the pain immediately, but only this just relieves the pain temporarily.
Yeah.
We need to so we are just treating symptom here like allopathy, so we need to find out the cause and we need to treat that also.
Right. Yeah. So basically, as you mentioned, the cold water will immensely help in getting over the pain. But the basic underlying cause must also be worked upon. So any effort to stop the effect without working on the actual cause will not help in the long run, right? So following a healthy lifestyle along with these hydrotherapies is a must. Okay. So yeah. So all these severe problems can be healed with the pure water or with the rainwater or the alkaline water or pure water. Okay. Now the next slide. Yeah.
अनुष्णं मस्तकं स्वास्थ्ये पादा उष्णौ भविष्यतः अस्वास्थ्ये मस्तकं तुष्णं पादौ शीतौ भविष्यतः. This means, I'll just explain this words. Mastakam means our head. Anushna is like Ushna is heated.
Yeah.
Like whoever wants to speak about this.
Okay. Zenobia, do you want to talk about this slide?
Yes. So Guruji also mentioned one kahavat in Hindi that पाँव गरम पेट नरम और सर को रखो ठंडा फिर
Yes.
कोई वैद बुलाए तो उसे मारो डंडा.
Yes.
Meaning that if your feet are warm, your stomach is soft, that means there is no constipation or your bowel movements are proper and your head is cool, then you don't need any Ved or any other medicines. So that is, I think, the core of this slide, that the feet should be warm, and
Yeah.
warm feet are a sign of health. And cool head. So cool head, here I would add that it's not only the temperature, but also your mind. We have to get rid of the anger and all that negativity in the mind and keep it cool from other thoughts also. So in that way also, a cool head helps to maintain good health. And
Right.
the reverse condition is a state of disease when your feet are cold and the head is heated. So that is the state of disease. And in the state of health, feet are warm and head should be cool.
Right. So in the state of disease or sickness, what do we do? Which hydrotherapy application do we do to make things the way they should be?
We do a hot foot bath
Yes.
and a the wet towel wrapped on the head.
Right.
The head cool, and for the even distribution of heat in the body, maintaining
Yes.
temperature.
Yeah, perfect. Very well explained. So because of warming the feet, the circulation of the blood improves and our health becomes, we improve our health. So all the hydrotherapy applications is basically process of improving health, not curing disease. Okay.
Uniform temperature throughout the body. So
Yes, equal distribution of heat. That's
Yeah.
exactly the first sign of health.
yeah.
Amongst the 10 signs, that is the first
Mm.
one. And all the hydrotherapy applications aim to do just that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what are the 5 principles of natural health science?
Unity,
Not unity. The 5 principles.
disease is one. Sorry.
No, that's the unity. It starts
Okay.
with ample exercise.
Yeah, ample exercise, adequate rest,
Yes.
positive food, positive thoughts, and what's the 5th one? Ample exercise.
The
Adequate.
activity is interesting activity, positive activities.
A creative occupation
Creative occupation, yeah. Creative
Yes,
occupation.
and helping others.
that
Yeah,
utilizes your skills and passion to help
Passion.
others.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last one is one of the most important ones because it is related to the mind. And beyond the 5 elements of nature is the mind. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Good. Now moving on to the next slide. Yeah, Deepali ji.
भौमक्षार युतं स्त्वम् अम्बु रसैः संस्कृत्य योजयेत् लिकुचानां च अपर्णानाम् अन्यथा प्रायश अस्त्य जेयत.
Right. So you can only take this.
Okay. So this talks about the various different trace elements or earthly salts. So these are the salts which are there in the water, so that should be purified by adding lime juice, herbal juices, or try the process of Hamashodakam. If these do not help, then such water should be given up altogether. So actually, if our drinking water contains वो we speak ना ये पानी जड़ है या फिर heavy है या फिर बोर का है, so that times instead of using these purifiers which takes away all the trace elements and all the nutrients also, so instead of that we can try this things, lime juice and the other things, do that.
Yeah, ideally,
I didn't understand this process of Hamashodakam.
yeah, we'll discuss it on the next slide. So I was just going to say, ideally, we must have a lot of good water from the alkaline fruits and the alkaline vegetables and the fruits, rather than drinking a lot of water by itself. So when we have a lot of water-rich food in our diet, we end up drinking very less external water, right? So that is very good. Okay, now moving on to Hamsodakam. Yeah. So who can explain this slide, Hamsodakam?
I can try.
Okay, please go ahead.
So Hamsodakam, the name comes from the bird Hamsa or the
Yeah.
swan, which has
Yeah.
the capacity to separate milk from water.
Yeah.
And so here the water needs to be purified with a certain process, which begins with a cotton cloth. So we sieve the water through the, or we pour the water through the cotton cloth, and the more bigger impurities get caught in the cloth. So there is one level of purification. Then
Yeah.
the water has to go through ground up charcoal. So it drips through the charcoal, and many other impurities get soaked by the charcoal. And
Yeah.
then it has to be processed through a pot of sand. I believe it is washed and cleaned sand. And again, when it drips through it, certain more impurities are absorbed by the sand, and the water is another level of purity takes place. Then this has to be put in a glass jar or jug. I wonder if it could be a mud pot also, no? So
No, because here when we pour it in a glass jar, we keep it in the sun, and on top of the glass jar, we cover it with a cloth
yeah.
so that the sunlight can also penetrate and it becomes sun charged.
Okay.
So sun also purifies the water, and so the glass jar.
Okay. So this is the next level of purification, keeping it in sunlight for at least 3 to 4 hours,
Yeah.
so that other toxins get eliminated. And then some edible leaves like tulsi or curry leaves or spinach, coriander can be added. Cardamom skin can be added for a little extra pleasant taste if needed. And these leaves also suck in the toxins, remaining toxins from the water.
Yes.
Also, it was highlighted that these leaves should not be consumed afterwards because they have absorbed.
Yes. Sorry, your voice has stopped.
Of water also comes. So we should not consume that leaf, but we should pay our respects by touching it to the eye and then keeping it somewhere. So this is the process of Hamsodakam.
Right. Okay. So step number 2 and 3 are necessary only if there is a lot of chemical waste in the water. If there's too much of chemical, if there's not too much of chemical, we can skip 2 and 3 and only do step 1 and then move on to step 4. So when I did the introductory course few years ago, I had started doing purifying water using Hamsodakam technique by using a glass jug, a 2-liter jug I have. And for many months, I actually did it, but now I have stopped, and I think I should restart doing it. Of course, it's a little bit of an effort to do this on daily basis. But if you really want to do it, you can take out time. So when you actually add such leaves like tulsi leaves, or I also used to add mint leaves sometimes. Sometimes I used to add basil leaves. The taste or the flavor was very good in that water. And of course, a lot of benefits also you get with sun charged water. Okay. I used to skip step numbers 2 and 3, and I use the drinking water which we get from the tap in the kitchen and filtered it with the cotton cloth directly into the glass jar, and then kept it in the sun for a few hours, like half a day, and then kept it inside with one of the edible leaves inside, and then removed the leaves and added the water into the mud. What do you say? The ghada. What do you
Pot,
say?
pot.
The pot, mud pot. Yes.
Matka.
Matka. Yes, matka. Okay. So is this process clear now, Deepali ji?
One more point that we should not consume these leaves. I think we
Yes.
should not consume the leaves.
Yeah, that Zenobia explained.
I had a query that if you leave it overnight, so you have sun charged it today, so then this water you will drink tomorrow.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so in the overnight you will leave those leaves inside. In the morning you will remove it and you will put it in matka, and then you will drink this for the day.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, got it.
Right. Okay. Moving
So-
on to the next.
How many hours we have to keep these leaves inside? And does it have
Overnight.
only one type of leaf at a time, or it could be a mixture of these leaves?
Only one type of leaf at a time. Leaf at the time.
Okay.
Not a mixture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. प्राणाग्निः सर्वशो देहं व्याप्यो आद्यति शक्तितः तदा शीतजले नैव स्नानं हितकारं भवेत्.
Yeah. Neelkanji, do you want to take this slide?
Yeah. The heat also will permeate throughout the body, but when we take the cold water shower or cold water immersion, it will cool the body completely. Throughout uniformly, it will cool down the body.
Yes, and especially in what cases? When is the
Whenever,
whole body heated?
yeah,
In case of fever, right? When there is
fever,
high
fever,
fever.
high fever or normal fever.
Yeah. In such a case, when we do a cold shower or whole body cold bath,
Yeah.
the heat in the body reduces, and the healing starts happening. The health starts improving.
Improving, yes.
Yeah, bathing in cold water is very beneficial for acute conditions like fever, right? Even this is one technique, and the other technique is what we also discussed earlier about feet in hot water and cold wet pack on the stomach,
Stomach,
because
yeah.
this will create a temperature difference, and with the difference in temperature, the blood circulation
Will
improves
improve.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
In our earlier sessions, we saw the importance of fever and how fever is actually helps in cases. So here, why are we trying to like bring it down? Or is it only when it really starts increasing and then it is threatening? So then we aim at doing this, or immediately when you get fever, we should go and have a hot shower.
No, not hot shower. Always a cold shower.
Sorry, cold shower. Yeah.
Yeah. So, sometimes when we have fever, there's a lot of discomfort in the body, a lot of uneasiness. So we have to address this discomfort as well. So hydrotherapies are ways to get rid of the pain or the immediate discomfort that is happening. And they also help in improving health by increasing the blood circulation and by maintaining an equal distribution of heat in the body. So it is actually not stopping the symptom, but it aids in improving our health. So when the blood circulation improves, the filth inside our bodies start moving towards the elimination channels and they finally get eliminated. Okay, so when fever comes and when it becomes better, we start perspiring. So through the sweat, the toxins come out, the filth gets eliminated. With tona, the filth gets eliminated. With pranayam, the gaseous filth gets eliminated. So these are all different ways of eliminating the filth, and that's the basis of improving health.
Thank you, Vandana. So here I just wanted to understand that if there is fever and say there is 101 or 102 temperature,
Yeah.
and the person is resting and is okay, comfortably resting, do we still have to like take a cold shower, or we should allow the fever to do its work and then gradually reduce, or then if it goes up to 103, then we go on to taking a cold shower? So I just wanted to understand, when do we come to this cold shower therapy?
Okay, so if there is no discomfort, it is okay to not do the cold shower, but doing tona must be done during acute conditions, including fever. And if the tona is done 3 times back to back, it is even more helpful because the filth gets eliminated faster and the healing expedites. And the fever will not last for a longer duration. But if we do not help with elimination of filth using tona, the fever may last longer. But taking a cold shower, some people are not comfortable in taking a cold shower. So in that case, we must not force people to take a cold shower because it becomes violence to our bodies, right? And then we may start with somewhat lukewarm water shower and gradually reduce the temperature of the water and then finally end with a quick cold shower. And then wipe our bodies and quickly wear socks and clothes and warm ourselves up. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. Next slide.
स्नाने अस्मिन् एकदा सर्वं शरीरं शैत्यमेवति यत् शैत्यं सोढुम् अशक्तानां स्नानम् एतद्धितं नहि.
Okay. Who will explain this? Kavita ji?
Shall I tell this? What I
Okay.
understood? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, in normally, if the people unable to tolerate the cold showers, they can slightly increase the temperature where they can
Yes.
able to tolerate. Then afterwards, they can slowly add the cold water where they can able to tolerate. That is,
Yeah, this is exactly what we just spoke in the last slide also.
yeah,
Yeah. So people should be educated about the benefits of cold
yeah,
water shower. And once we know the benefits, gradually our mind will be much prepared, and it takes some time to get adjusted to cold water.
yeah,
If you've been taking bath with hot water all your lives, suddenly taking bath with cold water
yeah,
may not be encouraged or may not be liked by the person. So to be honest, I have lived in Mumbai since childhood till I got married, and Mumbai being such a hot and humid weather, still I used to take bath with geyser hot water all throughout 365 days of the year, irrespective of whether it's summer or winter. Anyway, there is not much of winter in Mumbai, but still, I used to take bath in hot water. But now, even in Pune weather, which is much cooler than Mumbai, I take a cold water shower even during winter season. Sometimes, if it's too cold during winter, I start with lukewarm water and then gradually cool the water and end with the cold shower. But mostly, I always take bath with cold water. So this has happened in the last few years, not suddenly. Okay, and also taking a shower along with head bath is very important. Again, I'm reiterating this fact because some of us may still not take head shower every day, but there are a lot of benefits of taking cold water head shower on daily basis, because the head should be kept cool both ways, as Zenobia said, temperature as well as temperament.
yeah.
Okay. And cold water shower really helps you in that. Sorry, cold water head bath helps you with that. Okay.
I want to ask you,
Yes.
I started, since I joined our program, I started taking a head bath every day, but there is a little bit of a hair fall which is occurring. So usually there is going to be some amount of a hair fall, but it is increased. That is what I feel because of this hair bath. I mean, every time we just take a bath, there are some amount of hair are seen in the bathroom, and again when you comb again there is a hair fall. So is there anything else also needs to be done, uh, rather than whatever we are already doing, like having lively food and uh, cooked food in the evening? There are sometimes I'm not able to follow completely, because like now there was a Diwali, so
Yeah.
we ate a little bit of a faral in everyday evening food.
Yes.
So previously this was not there. So I just thought I'll ask you. Would I?
Right. So, see, there are times when we also don't do it 100%, especially during festivals. Okay. So, no one is perfect, and that's absolutely fine, and nothing to be guilty about. Just make sure you don't miss your raw vegetable salad. That is the most alkaline meal of the day, and it should be had as a meal. And if you still feel hungry, maybe after a couple of hours, you can have some cooked food with lot of vegetables. Okay, and as far as Diwali Faral, Diwali comes once in a year, so don't bother. It's absolutely fine to have Diwali Faral. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, Plus, in addition to this, what I have recently started following is this is not taught in NHS per se, but I've started taking some probiotic drinks. So, especially there is something called as fermented rice water, which is very
And
popular in some states.
kanji we call it.
Kanji, exactly. So it could be either millet based or rice based or vegetable based.
Actually, I used to make, I remember, take a glass jar and put
Yes.
this carrot and beet
Yes.
and 1 teaspoon of mori dal, what you call?
Mustard
Mustard
ground.
dal,
Yes.
grinded mustard, and you
Yes.
put it in the sun kind of a thing for a day, for
Glass
two hours
jar.
or so. And after 2 days, it becomes little turbid and it
Yes.
tastes little tangy and
Yes.
fermented also. I just
Right.
love that drink.
Yes, yes, you can still continue to have it. It's
Yeah,
very good because
okay.
there are microbes inside and it is
Yeah,
very good for our gut.
okay,
Uh,
I'll do that.
and to be honest, there are enzymes in food which gets killed when we cook food. So above 48 degrees, they do not exist. So it is very important to consume something like this, the probiotic drinks. So in Odisha, they call something called as pokharo, where they consume fermented rice water. And this is very popular traditional recipe during summers because it keeps your stomach and the gut very cool. So what they do is they cook rice, let's say today, and they consume some hot rice with the food, and some rice is left untouched without consuming. And once it cools down, they put water in the rice. And if you do it in a mud pot, that is all the more beneficial. And keep the rice and the water for 24 hours. So tomorrow, when you actually open the mud pot, you will see that there is such certain fermentation that has happened and the taste changes and it tastes very good. So you can consume that water or you can consume both water and rice together along with vegetables. So mostly every second or third day, we are now having this fermented rice and water along with vegetables. Okay. So this is a very good way of also B12. So many times, although Guruji says that we must not do any tests, but if you happen to do some tests, you may find that all your parameters are excellent except the B12. Okay, so when you do such things, the probiotic and even things like tepache or other kind of probiotic drinks you can make at home and consume them. Yeah.
What is the last one you mentioned, Vandana?
Tepache. So tepache is a drink made from pineapple. So what you do is you can consume pineapple as a fruit and the pineapple waste, like the sides which we cut and throw it, you can actually use it for making tepache. Tepache is like a probiotic fermented drink which you put in a glass bottle and add water and some good, some sweetener. Okay, usually people add brown sugar or mishri or jaggery and keep adding jaggery every day, little, like half a spoon or 1 spoon. And after 3-4 days, the drink is made, like it gets fermented. and then you can consume it. You can then keep it in the fridge so that it doesn't get fermented further, and then you can consume it little by little. It tastes awesome. The sourness of the fermented drink and the sweetness of the jaggery makes it very tasty. So you can try it. You can also Google or YouTube how to make tepache.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Heard of it for the first time.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I just wanted to ask that all these probiotic and fermentation, are they good in this season also? Like it is raining, so sometimes it is, I mean, it may not ferment well or it gets over fermented. So we need to be careful.
Right. So it depends from city to city. For
Okay.
example, in Mumbai, it may get fermented quicker. In Pune, it may take couple of more days to ferment.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Hmm.
Yeah.
समीकरण मौष्णस्य वयोपशमनं तथा शक्ते एस्ता तात्कालिकी वृद्धिः अपचिकित्सा प्रयोजनम्.
Okay. So do you want to take this slide? Deepali ji?
Yeah. So as we know that equal distribution of the heat all over the body is the sign of good health. So water can be used for this equal distribution of heat as well as to relieve the pain and temporary increase in the flow of vitality, as it mentions, means this temporary increase of blood circulation in the affected part or all over the body in case of fever. So these are all our good effects of water we can use for temporary relief.
Yes.
Huh.
So, yeah, I think basically, if there's cold in some parts of the body, even if there is an injury like a head injury, we just have to wet a cloth and keep it on top of the injury, and it will heal very fast. So, all these methods are just to, as you said, to ensure equal distribution of heat all over the body and to relieve the pain so that the flow of vitality improves. So
So
important point to note here is the vitality never increases, but the flow improves. Yeah.
So I can share my experience that I had this in between one day there was a lots of heat. I mean the temperature was very much, and I was in the operation theater and then couldn't drink much of a water, and so after that I had feeling of having like the whole body is heated, not febrile, but that kind of a feeling. So I took this cold shower on head, but still after again 1 or 2 hours I started feeling little heated. So then I used this cold pack on my neck and on my forehead, and I just took rest for some time, and I felt so relieved and I felt so good. So I mean that was a practical of hydrotherapy session, whatever we are learning.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure each one of us by now has experienced some or the other hydrotherapy application benefits on ourselves. whenever there is an acute or a severe condition, instead of resorting to medicines any longer, we resort to one or the other hydrotherapy application. Right?
Yeah, yeah. Even my husband had a fall and there was this little swelling on the ankle. So he used this weight patti on that
Yeah.
times a day, and then third day the swelling was completely gone. It was very minor and the pain was also very little. So he was
Yes.
very happy.
Very nice. Superb.
Okay, I'll
Excellent.
read.
So one thing which is very, very important, which was explained, I think, in this slide or maybe the next slide, is that every time someone gets injured, you have to stop eating that day. Why? Because the first day, the fasting on the very first day when you have got injured is very, very helpful so that we are not diverting the repair work to the digestion work. So only one thing can be done at a time, either digestion or repair. Okay. So I always give this example. Let's say I am in my house and I'm sweeping my room. And while sweeping, a friend visits my house. There is someone on the door. I go and open the door. I stop my sweeping work. I go and open the door and I entertain my friend. And then my friend goes away. I come back and start sweeping again. Just as soon as I have restarted sweeping, again there's another neighbor who has come on the door and ringing the bell. Again, I stop sweeping and start entertaining. So every time I go to clean, there is someone who is entering. So if you relate this with food, as soon as the body starts the cleaning work, the food enters the body and the cleaning stops and the digestion starts. So it's either digestion or healing. So only when we stop our digestion by stopping the entry of food, only then the repair work will progress. Okay. Yeah, you can
Okay.
continue with this.
Okay. रक्षणी योष्णता देहे वर्धनीया यथोचितम् उष्णत एव स्वभावो हि जीवदेहस्य सर्वदा.
Okay. Who can take this up? Neelkanji. Neelkanji is not there, is it? Okay. Maybe Kavita ji or Zenobia, whoever.
Yes, I can try.
Okay.
In this slide, Guruji mentioned about spinal bath and how it should actually, when you take a spinal bath, it should increase your overall body temperature after the spinal bath.
Right.
So, if the temperature after spinal bath is lower than the previous body temperature, that means you have added more water in the spinal bath.
Right.
Therefore, the water should be hardly 1 inch in a spinal bath. And interestingly, Guruji also mentioned about this new spinal tub, which does not have that slopes for the head and the leg. It only has about 3 inches of height on all 4 sides. And it is the usual size of 3.5 feet by 2 feet or so. So
Yeah.
here only about half an inch or 1 inch of water
Yeah.
should be it. And the result of a spinal bath should be increased body temperature towards the end.
Yes. So only half an inch of water